The first part is just planning out your frames. It's your base frames that are key to filling in the blanks of the animation later. I used 4 base frames in this, and one of them is just staring at the camera as you see, one of them is looking off to the side, one of them is in between those, and one of them is with the head tilted slightly at the end of the turn. You might notice they're changing color. That's because I'll take the last one and the one that was after it and make them opposite color spectrums so that I can easily see between the frames for a fake onion skin kind of effect. Some programs have it in natively, SAI does not. If you go into the options and then the preference tab, you can actually change the still image length import setting for when you're dragging in your frames. Mine is normally about 0.08 seconds, but you can turn it up to a higher amount if you want to. And now, like I said earlier, we're going to be doing in-betweening, so I'm literally just sketching in between 2 layers at a time. If you previously saved your files and brought them into Vegas like I did, I had them labeled as A, B, C, and D. To put in-betweens, I will call them A1, A2, A3, then B1, B2, so that they stay in alphabetical order when I import them. It's the best way I found so far to make in-betweens if you're using this method of saving and bringing it into another program. And here I have it saying that you can select multiple timeline clips and then group them. A lot of people didn't know this. You can group them just like a video and audio is default grouped in Vegas. So once they're grouped using that method, you can actually speed them up and slow them down in the exact timing that you set up. And remember, like I said, label your frames because what you're going to be doing is saving every time that you make a change, and you don't want to save over the wrong one. I put all of my sketches into folders on the right, as you can see, and I am lining them one by one according to the sketch. And as soon as I get the first one done here, you'll see that I kind of leave the first frame in the background a little tiny bit with baby opacity while I work on the line art on the sketch for the second frame. And I just kind of keep that pattern going until I lined everything. And things are gonna look wonky, things are gonna be weird, and that's just something for you to fix in the next step when you start fixing things and adjusting. Take it slow in the beginning and then fill in the blanks because it'll speed up. It's like a snowball. Another thing that I recommend, try to pay attention to close all your lines while you can. So like, you know, where the hairline meets the face, try to pay attention to those little details because later when you're flood filling in color, it's just easier to be able to keep your mindset in filling in color mode and not have to fix every little thing and then try to see if those lines are concurrent with each other. So now's the time to pay attention to that. I like keeping things as simple as possible with the idea that I'm putting things on top of it later. Like, for instance, I don't care how the jacket lines look too much because I'm going to be putting hoodie laces on it, on the end. So I don't care if those are a little misaligned, but what does matter to me is the cheek and the hairline. So prioritize, you know? If you are new to my channel and you found this through a recommended video, hi, I'm Puddle, but we're already on part 4 for adjustments, so this is literally where I'm just watching what I made over and over and over and seeing what stands out, what's wiggling wrong, what's too big, what's too small, and I discovered that a frame was missing hair, and a frame had a cheek part out too far, and a frame had the hair down a little too low. So this is me fixing all of those things, and then, as you could probably guess, going back and saving over every single frame. And then it auto-updates in Vegas every time I save over them, which makes previewing a breeze. And we're on to flat coloring! The fast and easy part, which is debatable. Puddle's only got like 3-4 colors in this, so it was pretty quick. If it were a more complex character, a more complex scene, it would take me a lot longer. So, you know, just going between every one of them, adding a layer inside of each folder, and putting down the flat colors. I do recommend doing it in one big PSD or SAI file and then exporting PNGs. Anyway, we're doing adjustments. I put on the little hoodie straps and I put a little highlight on the screw, though technically I'm going to be doing highlights in a completely different section, but I don't know, I decided to do the highlight early. So I'm still fixing stuff, and about this point I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw that hand in there before I forget. So the hand is actually going to be on its own set of layers. It's not going to be at all attached to the body that turned. So I decided, you know, three layers is fine, 3 frames is good. So I sketched them, I quickly lined them, and then I pulled them into a completely different layer on Sony Vegas. So they're on their own time. And about here's where I pull them in. Yep. I threw in a gradient with overlay to see how it looked if I were to just complete it there, but of course, if you're here, you're probably here for a little bit of shading too. So let's go all out. Let's shade. So I have 3 layers in each folder: the sketch, which is hidden, the colors merged with the line art, and then the shading on top of that. The shading is going to be at 100% opacity with the darkest color I'm using. I don't line with black unless the whole thing is in black and white, so I usually use this dark blue or a purple or a brown, and I just start inking in the shadows as if they are flats. And it always looks way too dark and looks awful and super dramatic, but that's because it has to be at full opacity when you're doing it so that you can flood fill. And you may have noticed that my selection source is the whole folder. That way I can, like when I flood fill with the paint bucket or I use the selection tool, it'll account for the line art on the layer beneath it too. So I can just make one line and flood fill behind it. Also, I just realized by the time this is done, this is a heavily requested video, I will have 10,000 subscribers, which, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, honestly, I couldn't do this without you guys. I wouldn't do this without you guys. I'd been doing it for so long with nobody really seeing it too much. I'd have some amazing people that were incredibly dedicated and loved seeing my stuff, and it meant the world to me to see them all the time. So many sweethearts, and I just gotta say thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being chill, for being super sweet, for all the amazing gift art I've received too. I never expected that. But yeah, I gotta get back to it. We're compositing. This is the fun part, in my opinion. I did 2 very little things for this. I did the overlay like you saw, and I thought, okay, well, how can I make this look a little softer, a little smoother? And the answer to that is very easy, actually. It's duplicating the layer by right-clicking on it of your animations, the whole layer in Vegas. Duplicate that, and then just add a Gaussian blur to one of those layers and lower the opacity, and it makes it look so soft and smooth and a little dramatic. I changed the background color, and the overlay on top made it look really, really pretty. Then it's all about rendering, and we'll show you what we got here. Rendering, I just export it in 720 or 1080p, so I work in that resolution too. I know some artists work in double that resolution. My computer can't handle that. But here's the final version! I love how it looks, and it's surprisingly only 8 frames! If you don't count the hands. The hands are just 3 frames. But yeah, this took me about 2 hours because of the shading. It's a little difficult for me still. But I'm happy with how it came out.